Welcome YouTube. I know that the second Assault DLC has already been fairly heavily reviewed, but I thought I'd give you my thoughts. Is it any good? Will you like it? How's its performance? And should you buy it? Let's start with Operation Metro. Probably the most famous / infamous of the returning maps, and probably the one I have the most mixed feelings about. The thing is, all the things that are really bad about Metro aren't really to do with the map itself, but more about the amount of players on it. Sure, they've added some extra routes and some more cover to some of the longer corridors, but letting 64 players loose on it, it's only ever going to end up being one big clusterfuck grenade fest. However, played with 32 players or less, maybe even 48, Metro definitely still works. Hell, sometimes you can even have a great game at 64, but it's unreliable at best. So, will you like it? Well, if you liked it in BF3, then you definitely still will. If you're the kind who thinks Battlefield is all about vehicles, wide open warfare, then it's obviously not for you. However, if like me, you like a bit of everything, then stick to whatever size limit you like, put up with the near constant screen shake and get stuck in. Next, onto Gulf of Oman. My only real question about Gulf of Oman is why on earth was it not Strike at Karkand? Anyway, seriously, back to the review. Gulf of Oman was never one of my favourites, and this revamp will be no exception. Most of the modifications are minor, and don't really change the way the map plays. The Sandstorm, however, makes a massive difference. If you mainly play infantry and armour, being protected from jets and helis is awesome. No longer do you have to hope that your team has a half-decent pilot or two, and you can move around Oman's many wide open spaces with a lot more freedom. So, will you like it? Improvements aside, the problems of the past are still present. If the Russian side can all cap and set up a good defence, getting back a flag or two can be very difficult. All in all, it's one of those maps where if you have no decent pilots or armour players, infantry alone will not win the day. That said, get a balanced game, and it can be a very diverse and satisfying map. Next up, Caspian Border. Reimagined in autumn, with the orange leaves contrasting against the bright blue sky, this really is a beautiful sight for a battle. In general, I really liked the original, and I think this incarnation is probably even better. One of the rare maps where vehicles and infantry can coexist without either really having the upper hand. The way the trees block line of sight and the undulation of the land separates and reunites infantry and armour really makes the map flow. The bases are just difficult enough for armour that infantry can take them out with coordinated action, and good armour players can still have a good time if they know what they're doing. Moving the tower and making it relatively easy to destroy works wonders. The addition of the wall really seems to help too. So will you like it? Well, unless you actively dislike big infantry and vehicle maps, I can't see why you wouldn't. Caspian Border offers a little bit of everything to everyone in a nicely balanced package. Last, and possibly least, Operation Firestorm. I think it may be relatively subjectively that I say that I'm not really a fan. I wasn't in BF3, and I'm not now. It's not to say it's a bad map though. All the fire is just for show. I think they just really didn't have a better idea. I love toasting recons camped out on the tower as much as the next guy, but you can only flambe the ones foolish enough to go right to the top. Blowing down the tower would have been repetitive, but it still would have worked better. It's one of those maps where any small differences in skill between teams becomes amplified. Any big difference, and the inevitable uncapped camp begins in earnest. One of the weirdest things is the map textures. They're either very low res or just very, very plain. Everything looks a bit flat and blurry. So, will you like it? Well, I think lots of people will. My complaints are quite personal, and overall it does have a decent enough mix of infantry and vehicle action, with a variety of places to fight. I just have one too many memories of being on woefully inadequate teams and having a terrible time. So, performance, and should you buy it? Performance, in general, is poor at the moment. so it's quite hard to judge whether Second Assault is substantially better or worse. I think its release coincided with a bad patch, but it does feel, especially on Metro, that it may be a little worse. So should you buy it? I'm guessing that you haven't got Premium, because either you don't want to shell out for it, or you want to pick and choose your own DLC. I think that unless you really love one of the maps, or are desperate for the goal, which by all accounts, if you're a sniper, is very nice, then the answer is probably no. If you're skint and played the original maps, save your money for something else. But if you like the original maps and you have the spare change and want the extra guns, it's probably not the worst DLC ever.
Grenade!
So, to sum up, although none of the maps are new, some have had more obvious work than others. All the maps still suffer from problems of the past. The Gull is a great sniper rifle, and the Dow 12 with Flechette is a beast at close range. The AS Val has great damage per second, but a small mag, and not great at range. And the F2000 will destroy at close range, but that's about all it's good for. And for me, Caspian Border looks and plays great and is the best of the bunch. If you enjoyed my Second Assault review and it helped you in your decision, please leave a comment or a like, and follow for more reviews and gameplays.
Be advised.